A Millionaire's strategic fake marriage reveals hidden secrets, sparks unexpected true love, and alters his legacy. Beneath the shimmering facade of wealth and privilege lies a tangled web of secrets and desires. When Jacob Smith, heir to a sprawling empire, meets the enigmatic Emily, their worlds collide in unexpected ways. Bound by duty and driven by hidden motives, their journey promises passion, intrigue, and life-altering choices. Jacob Smith, the sole heir to Smith Industries, appeared to have it all: immense wealth, undeniable prestige, and boundless opportunities. From the outside, his life shimmered with the allure of luxury and success. Yet, beneath this glittering facade resided a restless soul, yearning for something more meaningful. Jacob's upbringing was far from ordinary. After a tragic plane crash claimed his parents' lives, he was raised by his aging grandfather, Alexander. The loss left Jacob devoid of parental guidance, leaving him adrift in a world where decisions were made for him rather than by him. Alexander, a stern yet caring figure, dedicated his twilight years to shaping Jacob into a responsible successor for the family empire. He envisioned a future where Jacob would not only inherit the business, but also find personal fulfillment and purpose. However, despite Alexander's unwavering efforts, Jacob remained disengaged. The boy who should have looked up to his grandfather instead found solace in the endless parties and the thrill of his privileged lifestyle. Alexander watched with growing concern as Jacob drifted further away from the values he held dear. The old man's heart ached, not just for the state of the business, but for the grandson he had hoped to guide. Every conversation about responsibility and legacy seemed to fall on deaf ears. Jacob, wrapped in his own world of indulgence, dismissed Alexander's concerns with a carefree smile. But life has a way of intervening when least expected. Unbeknownst to Jacob, events were aligning to challenge his complacency. The seeds of change were being sown, promising to disrupt the status quo he so comfortably inhabited. As the days turned into months, the tension between Jacob's carefree existence and Alexander's earnest hopes grew palpable, setting the stage for an inevitable confrontation that would alter the course of Jacob's life forever. Jacob's life was a seamless blend of opulence and excess. Each day mirrored the last, filled with lavish parties that never seemed to end, fast cars that roared through the city streets, and endless indulgence in the finest things money could buy. His penthouse overlooked the city skyline, a constant reminder of his unbridled wealth and the limitless possibilities it afforded him. To Jacob, money was no object. It was a tool to sustain his hedonistic pursuits. Despite the outward appearance of happiness, an undercurrent of emptiness pervaded Jacob's existence. The thrill of his lifestyle dulled over time, leaving him craving something more substantial. Yet, he remained oblivious, lost in the fleeting pleasures that his fortune provided. The allure of luxury masked the deeper void within him, making it easy to ignore the nagging sense that something crucial was missing. Alexander, witnessing his grandson's descent into frivolity, grew increasingly worried. He saw beyond the surface, recognizing the lack of purpose and direction that plagued Jacob. The old man often tried to impart lessons about responsibility and legacy, emphasizing the importance of building something meaningful. "If only you'd find someone to share your life with, Jacob," he would say, hoping that a meaningful relationship might anchor Jacob to a more fulfilling path. However, Jacob's response was consistently dismissive. He would offer a half-hearted smile, masking his discomfort with charm, and walk away before any real conversation could take place. The gulf between them widened with each passing day, as Jacob continued to prioritize his extravagant lifestyle over the wisdom and love his grandfather offered. The tension was thick, a silent battle of wills that neither fully addressed, yet both felt the weight of its implications. As Jacob navigated his days filled with superficial joys, the seeds of change began to take root, unnoticed by him. The stability and permanence that Alexander represented stood in stark contrast to Jacob's transient pleasures. Unseen forces were at play, hinting that the foundation upon which Jacob built his life might soon face unforeseen challenges, compelling him to confront the very emptiness he sought to escape. A routine trip to Las Vegas was all Jacob needed, or so he thought. Seeking a temporary escape from his monotonous existence, he checked into his family's luxury hotel, a grand establishment that symbolized the pinnacle of Smith Industries' success. The casino floor buzzed with energy, the clinking of chips and the laughter of gamblers creating a vibrant backdrop. Yet, amidst the familiar chaos, Jacob felt a lingering sense of disconnection. It was there, in the heart of his own empire, that Jacob encountered Emily, the shift manager of the hotel. Unlike anyone he had ever met, Emily exuded a quiet strength and authenticity that immediately set her apart. She moved with purpose, her demeanor unruffled by the extravagance surrounding her. Jacob, accustomed to superficial interactions, found himself genuinely intrigued by her presence. Their initial meeting was unremarkable, yet impactful. Jacob attempted to charm her with his usual wit and charisma, but Emily remained indifferent, her focus unwavering. Her lack of reaction was a rare challenge for Jacob, who was used to effortlessly winning people over. Instead of the usual easy rapport, he was met with a polite but distant professionalism that stung his ego. For the first time, Jacob felt a spark of something unfamiliar, a mixture of frustration and fascination. Emily's indifference piqued his curiosity, making him wonder what lay beneath her composed exterior. Unlike others who were dazzled by his wealth and status, Emily saw him for who he truly was, without the veneer of privilege. As Jacob left the encounter, a restless thought lingered in his mind. He couldn't shake the feeling that meeting Emily was more than mere coincidence. There was an unspoken tension, a connection that hinted at deeper possibilities. For the first time in a long while, Jacob found himself contemplating the life he led and the changes that might be necessary to find true fulfillment. Little did he know, this unexpected encounter was the catalyst for a profound transformation. Emily's presence would soon challenge Jacob's perceptions, pushing him toward a path he had never considered. The seeds of change were planted, and as Jacob delved deeper into this new connection, the carefully constructed walls of his luxurious life began to show signs of cracking. Emily's no-nonsense attitude continued to captivate Jacob. Unlike anyone he had ever met, she navigated the bustling hotel with a calm efficiency that belied the chaos around her. Her practicality and straightforwardness were refreshing, cutting through the superficiality that Jacob had grown accustomed to. Each interaction left him more intrigued, stirring feelings he couldn't quite identify. Determined to understand this enigmatic woman, Jacob found himself visiting the hotel more frequently. What he initially dismissed as mere boredom began to reveal itself as something more profound. He sought out opportunities to engage with Emily, each encounter deepening his curiosity. However, Emily remained steadfast, treating him with the same professional courtesy she extended to everyone else. Jacob's attempts to impress her with stories of extravagant parties and tales of high-speed car chases fell flat. Emily listened politely, but remained unimpressed, her eyes reflecting a depth of understanding that Jacob found both unsettling and alluring. This lack of flattery was a stark contrast to the adulation he was used to, making him question his own motivations and desires. As days turned into weeks, Jacob's visits became less about the hotel and more about Emily herself. He started noticing the little things, how she managed crises with grace, her unwavering dedication to her job, and the subtle kindness she extended to the staff and guests alike. These observations sparked a flicker of something deeper within him, a yearning for connection and purpose he hadn't realized he was missing. One evening, as Jacob watched Emily handle a particularly challenging situation with poise, he felt a pang of admiration. It was a rare moment of vulnerability where his usual bravado gave way to genuine appreciation. This shift marked the beginning of Jacob's internal struggle as he grappled with the realization that his life might need to change in ways he had never anticipated. The more Jacob delved into his interactions with Emily, the more he sensed the possibility of transformation. The carefree facade he had maintained for so long began to show signs of wear, replaced by a burgeoning desire for something more meaningful. Suspense hung in the air, as Jacob stood on the precipice of a new beginning, unsure of where this unexpected connection would lead him. News of Jacob's growing interest in Emily reached Alexander, who was quietly battling declining health. The old man's heart swelled with cautious optimism. Perhaps, he thought, this was the turning point he had long hoped for. Watching Jacob's superficial lifestyle crumble ever so slightly, Alexander saw a glimmer of hope that his grandson might finally find the stability and purpose he desperately needed. Despite his weakening condition, Alexander remained a pillar of strength and wisdom. He observed Jacob from the confines of his hospital room, noting the subtle changes in his demeanor. The restless energy that once defined Jacob was now tempered by a newfound introspection, a sign that the young man was beginning to seek something beyond material indulgence. "Maybe this is the one," Alexander mused, referring to Emily. He saw in her the qualities he believed Jacob needed: authenticity, resilience, and a grounding presence. The idea of Jacob finding companionship and responsibility through her resonated deeply with him. It was a wish rooted not just in personal desire, but in the hope of securing the family legacy through a meaningful relationship. However, when Alexander broached the subject with Jacob, the response was met with resistance. Jacob, still grappling with his own emotions, shrugged off any suggestion of commitment. He wasn't ready to anchor himself to anyone or anything, fearing that such bonds might restrict his freedom. The old man's pleas, filled with love and concern, fell on Jacob's indifferent ears. Despite Jacob's reluctance, Alexander's determination only grew stronger. He understood the importance of legacy, not just in terms of the family business, but in the values and relationships that would sustain it. His wish for Jacob was more than a personal desire. It was a strategic hope to ensure that the future of Smith Industries remained in capable and grounded hands. As days turned into nights, Alexander's condition worsened, intensifying the urgency of his wish. He knew that time was running out, and the window of opportunity to influence Jacob was narrowing. The stakes were higher than ever as the old man's health became a ticking clock, pressing Jacob to confront the reality of his actions and the potential consequences of ignoring his grandfather's heartfelt plea. The night air was thick with tension as Jacob rushed to the hospital, his heart pounding with anxiety. Alexander's condition had taken a sudden downturn, and the once resilient old man now lay frail and vulnerable in the sterile hospital room. The rhythmic beep of the heart monitor echoed ominously, a stark reminder of the fragility of life. Jacob entered the room, his eyes meeting Alexander's weakened gaze. The old man's voice was barely a whisper, yet the urgency in his plea was unmistakable. "Marry Emily," he begged, his hand reaching out weakly towards Jacob. "Give me that piece before I go." Confusion and reluctance flickered across Jacob's face. He had always viewed his relationship with Emily as purely transactional, a means to appease his grandfather without any real commitment. "Grandpa, it's not that simple," Jacob responded, his voice strained. "We agreed it was a fake arrangement." Alexander's eyes bore into Jacob's, filled with a mixture of desperation and hope. "It's not fake anymore," he insisted. "Emily is different. She can give you the stability you need. Please, for me." Jacob felt the weight of his grandfather's words pressing down on him. The room seemed to close in, the air heavy with unspoken fears and unfulfilled expectations. He glanced towards the door, searching for an escape from the overwhelming emotion. But there was none. Alexander's plea was a final, heartfelt request that Jacob couldn't easily dismiss. As the night wore on, Jacob wrestled with his conscience. The foundation of his carefree lifestyle was being challenged by the reality of his grandfather's impending departure. The pressure to honor Alexander's last wish gnawed at him, creating a storm of doubt and uncertainty. Could he truly go through with the marriage, even if it meant sacrificing his hard-earned freedom? Outside the hospital window, the city lights shimmered, indifferent to the turmoil unfolding within. Jacob knew that whatever decision he made would alter the course of his life forever. The suspense of the moment hung in the air, a pivotal turning point that would force him to confront his deepest fears and desires. In that critical moment, Jacob realized that the path to his true self was fraught with challenges he had never anticipated. The stakes were higher than ever, and the choices he made now would echo through the rest of his life, shaping his legacy and defining his future. The decision weighed heavily on Jacob as he approached Emily the next morning. The early sunlight filtered through the curtains of her modest apartment, casting a warm glow that contrasted sharply with the cold formality of their previous interactions. Jacob took a deep breath, steeling himself for the conversation ahead. "Emily," he began, his voice tentative yet resolute. She looked up from her morning routine, her expression guarded but curious. "We need to talk." She nodded, setting aside her coffee. "What's on your mind, Jacob?" Jacob hesitated for a moment, gathering his thoughts. "I've been thinking about Grandpa's request," he admitted. "He wanted us to get married. I know it was supposed to be fake, but I don't know if I can do this alone anymore." Emily's eyes softened slightly, though her demeanor remained composed. "Jacob, I never agreed to this out of the kindness of my heart. What's really motivating you to ask me?" He sighed, the weight of his responsibilities pressing down on him. "I feel trapped. My grandfather is dying, and he believes that marrying you is the key to my finding stability and purpose. I'm not sure I can ignore his wish without losing him forever." There was a pause as Emily considered his words. "A fake marriage can only go so far, Jacob. What happens after Grandpa is gone? What's the real reason you want this?" Jacob met her gaze, his vulnerability laid bare. "I don't have a real reason, Emily. I've been living a life without direction, and maybe this is the push I need to change. I promise you, it won't be forever. Once Grandpa is gone, we can part ways." Emily remained silent for a moment, contemplating the proposition. Finally, she spoke, her voice measured. "If I agree, it has to be clear that this is just for Grandpa's sake. There can be no expectations beyond that." Jacob nodded, relief mingling with apprehension. "Agreed. It's purely to honor his last wish. I want to do this the right way, without any deception." She took a deep breath, her resolve evident. "All right, Jacob. I'll go along with it, for Grandpa. But we need to set clear boundaries and make sure neither of us is taken advantage of." The agreement was sealed with a firm handshake, an unconventional proposal born out of necessity rather than desire. As Jacob left Emily's apartment, a sense of unease settled over him. The ceremony would be small and solemn, a public display of their union that felt hollow to both of them. Yet beneath the surface, the seeds of change had been planted, hinting at the unexpected developments that lay ahead. The suspense of their impending marriage lingered, a silent promise that their lives were about to intertwine in ways neither had anticipated. The path forward was uncertain, filled with both potential and peril, as Jacob and Emily embarked on a journey that would redefine their futures and challenge their perceptions of love and commitment. Months passed since Jacob and Emily stood before friends and family in their small, solemn ceremony. The initial awkwardness of their arrangement gradually gave way to a routine that neither had fully embraced nor completely rejected. Yet, beneath the surface, subtle changes began to take root, altering the dynamics of their relationship in unexpected ways. Jacob found himself increasingly drawn to Emily's steady presence. Her calm demeanor and unwavering dedication to her role as shift manager provided a stark contrast to the chaos of his former lifestyle. Each day, he observed her handling challenges with grace and efficiency, qualities he had long admired from a distance but never truly appreciated until now. One evening, as Jacob walked through the hotel lobby, he noticed Emily managing a particularly hectic situation with a composed efficiency that left him in awe. Guests were dissatisfied with a reservation mix-up, and while others panicked, Emily navigated the chaos with a steady hand and a reassuring smile. Watching her, Jacob felt a pang of admiration that went beyond professional respect. Their interactions, once purely transactional, began to carry an undercurrent of genuine connection. Conversations extended beyond casual pleasantries, delving into personal anecdotes and shared moments of vulnerability. Jacob found himself opening up about his fears and uncertainties, something he had rarely done before. Emily listened with a patience and empathy that made him feel understood in a way he had never experienced. As weeks turned into months, Jacob's visits to the hotel became less about fulfilling his obligation and more about seeking out Emily's company. He started valuing her opinions and insights, relying on her perspective to navigate both personal and professional challenges. The facade of their fake marriage began to blur, replaced by a growing sense of camaraderie and mutual respect. One late night, after the hotel had quieted down, Jacob and Emily sat together in the lounge, sharing a rare moment of tranquility. The conversation took a deeper turn as Jacob confessed, "I never thought I'd find someone who sees me for who I really am, not just the heir to a fortune." Emily met his gaze, her eyes reflecting a depth of emotion. "You deserve someone who appreciates you for more than your wealth or status, Jacob. Maybe this was the push you needed to find that." The truth of her words resonated within him, igniting a spark of hope and possibility. The walls he had built around himself began to crumble, replaced by a newfound willingness to embrace change and explore the potential of a genuine relationship. The suspense of their evolving connection hung in the air, a delicate balance between obligation and the promise of something real and meaningful. As Jacob and Emily continued to navigate their unconventional marriage, the foundation of their relationship strengthened, laying the groundwork for a future neither had anticipated. The shift in Jacob's heart marked the beginning of a transformation, setting the stage for the challenges and triumphs that lay ahead. The hospital room felt colder without Alexander's presence, but his final words lingered in Jacob's mind like an unbroken vow. After his grandfather passed, Jacob faced a crossroads. The offer to part ways with Emily, along with the financial security he had initially agreed upon, weighed heavily on him. Yet the promise Emily had made, to never leave him, echoed with a sincerity that Jacob couldn't ignore. Sitting alone in his penthouse, Jacob contemplated the future. The thought of losing Emily now felt unbearable, a stark contrast to the ease with which he had considered letting her go. Memories of Alexander's unwavering faith in Emily's influence on him resurfaced, reminding Jacob of the legacy he was meant to uphold, not just the business, but the values his grandfather cherished. He reached out to Emily, his voice filled with a mix of desperation and determination. "Emily, I can't do this without you. You've become so much more than just part of a plan. I need you by my side." There was a moment of silence before Emily responded, her voice steady yet touched with emotion. "Jacob, I made a promise to your grandfather. But promises can be more than just words. If you truly want this, if you're committed, then so am I." Relief washed over Jacob as he realized the depth of their bond had surpassed the initial arrangement. Emily's decision to stay was a testament to the genuine connection they had forged, transcending the boundaries of their fake marriage. Together, they navigated the complexities of their relationship, building a foundation based on trust and mutual respect. As they worked side by side to honor Alexander's legacy, their partnership flourished both personally and professionally. Jacob found himself more engaged in the family business, drawing on Emily's practical insights to drive positive changes. Their combined strengths created a harmonious balance, fostering an environment where both could thrive. One evening, as they reviewed plans for expanding Smith Industries, Jacob looked up from the documents, meeting Emily's gaze. "Thank you for staying," he said softly. "I don't know what I'd do without you." Emily smiled, a warmth in her eyes that spoke volumes. "We're in this together, Jacob. Your grandfather believed in us, and so do I." The weight of the past months lifted, replaced by a sense of purpose and unity. The promise Emily kept not only honored Alexander's wishes, but also solidified a partnership that would define Jacob's future. The suspense of uncertainty was replaced by the certainty of their commitment, paving the way for a life built on love, trust, and shared dreams. As they moved forward, the legacy of Alexander intertwined with their own, creating a narrative of resilience and renewal. The journey that began with obligation had evolved into a story of genuine love and mutual support, ensuring that the bonds forged in the face of adversity would endure for years to come. With Alexander's passing, the responsibility of Smith Industries fell squarely on Jacob's shoulders. However, unlike before, he was no longer navigating the challenges alone. Emily's presence provided the support and wisdom he had long been missing, transforming his approach to both life and business. Together, they embarked on a mission to honor Alexander's legacy while infusing their own values into the company's operations. Jacob's initial disinterest in the business had given way to a passionate commitment, driven by the desire to create something meaningful. Emily's practical mindset complemented Jacob's strategic vision, resulting in innovative ideas that revitalized Smith Industries. Their partnership extended beyond the boardroom, fostering a deep personal connection that neither had anticipated. Weekend mornings were spent sharing meals and dreams, while evenings were dedicated to planning the future. The once purely transactional relationship had blossomed into a profound love, grounded in mutual respect and understanding. One sunny afternoon, Jacob and Emily took a stroll through the newly renovated hotel, now a symbol of their collaborative efforts. The lobby buzzed with the energy of satisfied guests and a dedicated staff, a testament to their successful partnership. Jacob paused, taking in the sight of Emily interacting effortlessly with the team, her leadership shining through. "Look at what we've built," Jacob remarked, his voice filled with pride and contentment. "It's more than I ever imagined." Emily leaned against the reception desk, a thoughtful smile playing on her lips. "It's a reflection of both of us. Your grandfather would be proud." As they continued to shape the future of Smith Industries, the lessons learned from their journey strengthened their bond. Jacob's transformation from a carefree heir to a responsible leader was mirrored by Emily's unwavering support and dedication. Together, they navigated the complexities of business and personal life, finding balance in each other's strengths and vulnerabilities. One evening, as they sat on the balcony overlooking the city, Jacob took Emily's hand, his eyes filled with emotion. "I never thought a fake marriage would lead to something real, something this wonderful." Emily squeezed his hand gently. "Sometimes the most unexpected paths lead to the greatest destinations." Their love story, born out of obligation, had evolved into a partnership built on trust, love, and shared purpose. The legacy of Alexander lived on not just in the thriving business, but in the lives he had touched and the love he had inspired. Jacob and Emily's union became a beacon of hope and resilience, demonstrating that even amidst loss and uncertainty, love and legacy could intertwine to create something enduring and beautiful. As they looked towards the future, the challenges they faced were met with unwavering determination and a united front. The marriage that began as a strategic move had transformed into a genuine partnership, giving Jacob the strength and support he needed to carry on his grandfather's legacy. Together, they embraced the new beginning, confident in their ability to build a life filled with love, purpose, and lasting impact.